Welcome to this week's market update. It's the first one of 2021, and I want to wish every single one of you, on behalf of myself, Marcus de Maria, and my head trader, Dennis Sahlström, a very Happy New Year! And I'll tell you what, 2021 has already been amazing. And what we're going to be covering in today's session is equally amazing. For example, we've got a great value cost averaging opportunity for you with Alibaba. So we're going to show you what we're doing there and what has happened to the billionaire Jack Ma, like the Communist Party. I don't know what they're doing, but I'll explain a little bit more. Also, what to expect in the markets in 2021 with Trump definitely gone now, even though his people tried to beat up the entire United States. But Biden definitely is in. What is he going to do with this new stimulus package? And we've got a couple of ways of doing that volatility, shorts and longs, and some safer positions to get into as well. And of course, the crypto markets. I mean, while we were away, we went into massive bullish mode. Remember I said if it went over to 20,000, you remember what I said, and boy, did it deliver. And absolutely fantastic. And it's had a massive pullback since then. So we're going to show you, we're also going to show you a couple of other things that you might think about getting into, because there's a couple of coins that have done some big announcement recently. That and much, much more we're going to cover. Let's get started. But before we do that, what do you think of Dennis's haircut? He's cut his hair. Tarzan is gone. Please comment below. What do you think of his new haircut? Let's show everybody the new hair.
Yeah, on the side here, it's a bit shorter, but it's
All right, comment below. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's have a look to see what has happened since last time. Dennis, I think we started off with Airbnb. This was an IPO that we were getting into. Remember, initial public offering. And we have our expert Keith who went in. He got in quite high though, because it just went straight up. That's the very first thing that it did, and then came straight down. So he managed to get in quite high. But we were in this as well. Went down 20% as well. That was our first entry point for us. I think Keith went in a lot faster. Or did you get in twice?
No, he got in twice.
He got
in, and
okay.
then because he got in all the way up, up around 100.
He just got pushed up as everything went up,
yeah.
And then went in again at minus 20. Was looking to get in again at minus 30. Unfortunately, didn't go there, which is interesting. We wanted to go down, right? But it didn't, and we were 5% in profit last time we looked at it last year. Last year, and what's happened since that time?
So since that time, a lot have happened. So in total, it went up 32%. So it just kept going up.
And we're only looking for between 15 and 20% on this, right? If you're aggressive, it's 20%. If you're a little bit more conservative like myself, you're looking at 15%. So that's a good one. And then, oh yes, so tell us what your exit point was there.
Yeah, so we got a couple of green candles, and as soon as we saw a red candle, we put a stop loss underneath, which was at around 22%, and then it came down and took us out.
Very nice. Are you thinking about getting in again as it comes down?
If it goes down quite a bit more, however, we are in a second lockdown, and is anyone really using Airbnb? I know it's a growth company, so I really do hope they really go down, and then I will get in again, because I think it's a great company when we're getting out of the lockdown.
That'll be a great opportunity to get in if it comes down below this point here. Okay, so next.
Yeah, so next we had some trades. We were trading the volatility.
Oh, and this one here, I remember this being a vertical buffalo going up. Several ones here we were in. We were already a little bit in profit. And what's happened since then?
So since then, it has kind of gone up a little bit more.
Right, so this is sort of the area that we went in here. Our stop loss would have been around here. So then it carried on going up, making us nicely in profit, has come down again. But that's the great thing, I love this, about the vertical, can also be vertical like this, but vertical buffalo, because what it means is now you have more chance of making money really, because the whole trend is where? It's up, right? So now if our stop loss was around here, the next trough would have been around here. You can keep raising your stop loss, not just anywhere, on the line, because this could carry on for a long, long time. So our next stop loss here will have been raised from this point here to this point here. So this will be our next stop loss here. This could carry on for a long, long time. Let's see what happens. Just imagine if it reaches the top here. That would be a very, very nice gain. And you look at the risk-reward ratio, that is looking good as well.
And a lot of people forget, right? Because all you need to do is to be patient. Just wait and see what happens, basically. It is a long-term game. So next up we were looking at the crypto markets. Here was a few of those updates, but then we looked at the crypto market as well. Yeah. So we looked at, and as you have seen, we're going to speak about the cryptos a bit later as well, but they have really gone up. So we were looking at Uniswap.
Yeah. So when we saw it, it was around this level here?
Yeah.
Because it obviously went down a lot further than that, which would have given us an entry point at the -20 mark. But I don't know whether we got that or not.
Yeah, we got that. But when we looked at this, we were -16, so we were waiting for it to go down a little bit more, so you could get in at the 20%. But the reason we looked at this, I don't know if you remember, it was a couple of weeks ago, but it was because a lot of the cryptos has already gone up. So we showed you a few that we were looking at that didn't really take off yet. So they were maybe about to, and we can see what happened after. It did go down. It did go down a little bit more. So I think you could have gotten in at the 20% drop if you were looking at it, and then it just went up like 82% after that, or even a bit more than from the 20% drop.
Which, by the way, I know that sounds like a lot. If we were talking about stocks, that would be enormous, especially in just a couple of weeks. But for cryptos, that is not anything. I mean, it's good. We're not complaining or anything like that. And then we've had a massive correction since that time. We should look at Bitcoin, really, but maybe we're going to do that a little bit later, because Bitcoin obviously is the leader in the market. It's dominating. So if it goes up, everything else goes up as well, and vice versa. And it actually went up to $41,000. 41,000. Very, very briefly, went up to $41,000. And remember what I said: if it goes up above 20,000, and closes above 20,000, then and it actually went up to 41,000, which is fantastic. Okay, what's next?
And next we have Ethereum.
Yeah, same deal. We were already a little bit in profit there, and what happened after that? These ones had gone up quite a bit already. Went up another almost 100% there as well. And if you think about this, from almost 1,350 going down to around 900, that's a huge drop. And if you're new to this, that would give you cardiac arrest. We're used to this. I mean, honestly, it's almost like I was down in 2 days, $700,000. And it was just like, we're used to it, right? I was surprised. I didn't feel anything.
But I think also it depends on your strategy, right? Because if you are in this for the long game, you're like, okay, I'm just going to buy some more. And then you wait until it goes up even higher. So in that case, but also you took profits, right? We are also milking the cow and taking profits as it goes up.
Do you want to do a cow impersonation?
Moo! Moo! That's good. That's good.
I mean, that is pathetic.
Okay, fine.
Right, okay.
And then we can look at Bitcoin as well, obviously. We're going to have a bit more analysis on it. But when we looked at it, it broke it. Marcus' prediction was it was going to go up to the moon if it broke the high, because then all bets are off. We don't know, of course, but
I think we're still going to go to the moon. We have not finished yet. Okay, but it had already gone up, and then what happened after that? It went up to just over 41,000.
Yeah, and now then it went down in 1 day down to 29,000, 28,000.
Yeah, we were in meetings, unfortunately, but I managed to get in again and buy some more at around the 31 or 32? 32 by the time I got to it, 32, which is a shame. I mean, that would have been a trader's absolute delight, because when it overextends, during the day, at the end of the day, what tends to happen is that buyers will come up and push it back up. I mean, this is quite a push up. I didn't expect it to be as high as that. Okay, very good.
Absolutely. And then next up is Bitcoin Cash, because we are looking at other opportunities that hasn't really gone up yet, right? And Bitcoin Cash was one of those. And if we look at we were up 17% approximately. And then it went up another 100% in a couple of days, because that really started to take off now after Bitcoin reached 40,000, which is interesting.
That is a huge percentage of fall as well, though.
Yes.
Absolutely. Wow. So hopefully you were milking the cow along the way. Was that a better?
Yeah, it might be better.
That was a bull more than a cow.
Mine was a Swedish cow.
Well, that's fair enough. I can't argue with that. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Atom.
Yes, we looked at Atom as well.
Why did we look at Atom?
Because it's an interesting project. It's one of those that it works with interoperability between blockchains. So we thought that had good...
Link, for example.
Like Link, for example, yeah. So down 36% from the high.
It's funny because I think that had we used our strategy, we would have been a little bit in profit here, but not enough. Like it could have been, 20% profit. But we're looking for a lot more when it comes to cryptocurrency. So it's interesting. It's like 20% profit. And so we didn't take it. And then, it's been going sideways. And we were still down at that point there. And then what?
Yeah, and then it moved up a little bit from that point, but not a lot, right? So that's quite interesting. So
hold on. So you're saying from here to here?
No, from where it is now.
From where it is now. So we could have gotten a little bit of profit, but we're looking for a lot more. So that's the challenge. It was going sideways. And it's really interesting that in this bull market, which we are definitely in, even though we had a massive, massive pullback, it's really interesting that Atom, this is Cosmos, right?
Yeah, Cosmos,
yeah. So hasn't really moved at all. Well, I mean, it has moved. I mean, it's not, it went from 4 till 7. I mean, it has moved, but not really for cryptos, not that much. Okay, great. Okay, now before Christmas, wow, I can't believe it. I still have my Christmas tree up, by the way.
That's good.
Yeah, because I thought we're in a lockdown, and it is dead.
It's going to be Christmas until March.
It's going to be Christmas until March. Seriously, I put on the lights every night. I don't care. Okay. So we talked about, before Christmas, we talked about Alibaba, because we said that, all of these like Baidu and Alibaba and Amazon, etc., we're going to do quite well because everybody's going online even more. But look at this, what's happened with Alibaba, which is really, can we have a look? Okay, good. So from the high there, remember we always get in at a certain percentage. We got in as it was coming down. It was an all-time high, okay? And as it was coming down there, just in the December time, then at minus 20, giving us another entry point again at 10% below that with a little bit more money. So our average price is probably around, I would say, just below there, right? Because we had a little bit more. So we would have been a little bit in profit, but probably not enough. And we are at minus 28% right now. Okay. Now, this is what's so interesting, okay? So the owner, Jack Ma, you might have heard of him, multi-billionaire, has a financial arm called the Ant Group, and they wanted to go public. And the Chinese authorities kind of said, you know what, we're not going to allow you to go public. Because if you think about it, I'm just trying to get into their mind, they're a communist state. I know they're not officially a communist party anymore, but they are. They're centralized, the total opposite of everything that is looking to be achieved through decentralization and cryptocurrencies and the blockchain. So, which is interesting because they would like the blockchain, but they want it centralized so they can control it themselves. For them, it is absolutely fantastic. For China, Russia, etc., the blockchain is amazing because you can control everything, but not if it's decentralized. So we can discuss that at another time. As soon as they said that, Jack, you're not allowed to do this IPO, in October, Jack Ma kind of retaliated and said some not so positive things about the Communist Party. Like they need to be more open, they need to get with it, man. And, he hasn't been seen since October. October, November, December, January. He hasn't been seen for 3 months. Now, listen, this is not I just want you just to take a deep breath here and just be really grateful that you live wherever you live. Because literally, and this is not the first time this has happened, if somebody says something negative against the state, you disappear. Now, I think he's going to come back because this has happened in the past where somebody said something, then they were gone, and they were reprogrammed for a while, then came back and kind of went on public television and said how amazing the Communist Party was and they were all fine and etc. and so forth. So he's being rehabilitated right now. I hope he's not in too much pain, but he's definitely learning the basics of the Marxist theories right now. Let's put it that way. It is terrible, 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 but could be an amazing, amazing opportunity for us. But you said something just now which was interesting.
Yeah, I bet. But I bet he has built an internet empire, right? So I definitely think it's a good opportunity. I think they're only gonna grow. They have loads of companies, like almost an Amazon of China, basically.
Yeah, down by 28%. But you did say something.
Yeah.
You just can't remember what it is. Right?
No,
you said about the US locking down on US technology companies.
Yeah, they might lock down. There's always been this kind of rivalry thing between China and US. So they talk about locking down and taking Alibaba out of the US stock market on NASDAQ, which would be a problem, I think, in the shorter term. But I do think it's going to be a buying opportunity. I see Alibaba, they have amazing results, amazing revenue, a great fundamental.
Just no leader.
There's no leader right now. but
No, but hopefully he has managers and directors and stuff like that. So you think it's a good buying opportunity at a minus 28 from an all-time high? I mean, that's good. Look, always go with the trends, right? Go with the trends, and Alibaba is definitely riding that trend. Okay, very good. Next. All right, let's have a look at some American companies. I mean, obviously, Donald is gone. It doesn't matter what people are trying to do to get him to stay. I think we can safely say he's gone. I will miss his Twitter feed and his insanity, and just miss laughing. It's such a shame. Anyway, so Biden looks like he's going to be in. Now, it is likely that he's going to be issuing the stimulus package, which Donald Trump said wasn't enough. Looks like he's going to be doing that or more. And so that's going to be really good for the markets going up. That's going to be really, really good. Look, as he enters the White House, there might be some volatility. Heaven knows what's going to happen. Is Trump going to be there in the inauguration? Blah, 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 blah. So let's trade some volatility. Let's do that. Let's have a look at some charts here. NetScout Systems. Okay, so you've chosen a down and an up. So you can do both of those or have a look at them at least. So for example here, we've got this on a daily chart. You've got this vertically falling, quite not sharply, very, very nicely, buffalo here. So you've got bounce, 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 bounce. And this is really nice. And the reason this is really nice is because it's still touching the line, but the low is so high up that literally our risk-reward ratio is absolutely fantastic. So if you wanted to, and I noticed, Dennis, you've not just taken this one, you've taken this one as well just to be safe, but you could almost take that one as well and still be okay. But let's leave it there. Absolutely fantastic. That is our short. Okay, 1% the low of that day. Let's have a look at a long here as well. Beyond Meat. Definitely one that I am looking to get into because it's with the trend, of what's happening out there with more awareness of eating less meat and more vegan, etc. and so forth. But do you know what this is actually made of, though?
Have you tried it?
I've tried it, yeah. It's quite bloody.
Yeah, it's very good. I think it tastes good.
But it's beetrooty, no?
Yeah, I think I don't know what.
So it's fine. And so, if you look at this chart, it's just been going sideways since kind of June of last year in a really nice holding package or a buffalo. And it's right at the lows right now. And yes, we would want it to go all the way up, but we can see some major kind of resistance at around the 146 mark. So I think that's a good one. Yeah,
and remember, we're only risking 1% of our entire portfolio on these trades. So if we lose, right, that's part of the game. But then if we win, we're gonna make a lot more than we're risking. Yeah. So those are some trades, right? Because we expect when Biden now gets in, we don't know what's going to happen. If he do the stimulus package, then it's going to go up. If Trump does something, it might go down. So then we have opportunities for both sides.
Absolutely. And we always say, make sure that you're hedged up and down. Okay. Now, even though Gabriella promised me that this would last for at least, but actually it didn't. Always listen to your CEO. Very important.
Yeah, but that is not a problem.
I'm so sorry. Thank God.
Really? Do you want me really to use this?
So now we have looked at what happens in the shorter term, and we're trading that volatility. But what can we expect from 2021? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? One of those is going to happen, obviously.
Oh, very good. I think you just called it.
Yeah, maybe one of those.
Get out your crystal ball. Tell us, what are the pros?
Yeah, but what we didn't expect in last year was all the money printing that happened, right? And then towards the end, then the vaccine came, we got out of lockdowns, and everybody was expecting the economic machine to get back to normal. So that was the anticipation of the future, which made the markets go higher and higher and higher. But now, I'm not so sure.
Now we're in the present, and if you have a look at some of the stats, so jobless claims are actually rising in the US right now. Also, the vaccines, which, everybody was going to get just like that, are being put out there much, much slower than anticipated. And I tell you what, that's not really surprising, because if you look at Pfizer, for example, I know we're not going to look at the chart now, but we have done in the past, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca. We have chosen the Oxford AstraZeneca one here in the UK, although we were the first to get the Pfizer one, because you don't have to keep it at minus 71 degrees in the way you have to do with Pfizer. How do you get distribution to millions of people when it has to be kept at minus 71 degrees? It just doesn't make sense. So it's taking a long time in the US for them to do that. So we should maybe have a look at Moderna in a moment, Dennis. And also, bankruptcies are on the rise. There have been a number, or a record number of bankruptcies in 2020, which is to be expected, I think. If you think about it, there's a number of bankruptcies anyway, even in a sideways market or a buoyant market, but in one where you have shutdowns going on and quarantines and lockdowns and all this kind of stuff, I think that number is just going to increase. So let's have a look at some maybe more stable companies.
Some stable companies. So yeah, so everybody, a lot of people are investing in the stock market fully, right? So if we're now getting this money printing, if we're getting more stimulus packages out, inflation will follow in one way or the other. We never know when. So we think it's good to diversify a bit into usually gold flourishing during those circumstances. So one company I want to have a look at is Franco-Nevada Corp. We have looked at gold companies before, like Barrick's Gold that Warren Buffett invested in.
But this is a bit different, right? Because Barrick Gold is a miner. This is a little bit different, right?
Yeah, this is a bit different. So what they do is they invest into gold miners and then they get part of the revenue coming from those. So they help miners to get started and then they get income from that.
It's almost like a royalty company, or another way you could do an ETF of several companies. This is kind of like that, but it is a public company.
Yeah, it's currently down 23%. Good to take a first entry with our VCA strategy. So that's one of them. And then also ride the trend. I mean,
and also, can I just add that, yes, because this doesn't look nice, right? When you look at this, it actually doesn't look like, but if you have a look, you do have some support at this level here, and that's interesting as well. It's always nice to have a confluence of several things happening at the same time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is that, right? But then the other things we can look at, we're obviously going to look at cryptos in a moment, which is very exciting, but also looking at AstraZeneca is one example. That's the vaccine company that's been rolling out in UK, like Marcus mentioned.
So so what happens in the UK, you might have heard that they call it the Oxford thing, but it's the Oxford, I think it's Oxford Medical, together with AstraZeneca doing this together. And I was expecting like this huge, because with Moderna and Pfizer, that's exactly what happened, but it hasn't really done that. Maybe back there, but we didn't know about it back there. And it's at minus 22, and I think the UK bought 100 million of them, which is because you need 2 jabs, dunk. So therefore, that's 50 million people, which is not quite the whole population, but pretty much.
And then it's the best vaccine after all. It's actually, AstraZeneca is partly Swedish owned, so obviously it's a good vaccine.
Oh, that's why it's the best, is it?
Yeah, well. But because we want to hedge our bets here, so we're looking at Moderna as well. We looked at that in the past, fallen 20-30%, now down 34%. So also a good opportunity to get into.
Yeah, so this was when they made the announcement about that they were going to have the FDA approval, etc. and so forth. And it has fallen massively since then. And if you would have gotten in at the minus 20, minus 30, but it went down even more, could have even gone in again at the minus 40, but down minus 34%. So if you believe in the company, you believe that the vaccines are going to go out there and serve the world, then this, it's got to be a good revenue stream for sure. So just check the fundamentals, do your own research. But Dennis, what would we not go into? Maybe we should end with that. What would we not go into?
I think so. So one company, because we always talk about what we're going into and why, because they're strong companies, they're the future. But a lot of you might ask, why are we getting into this, and which are we not getting into? So one of those will be
airlines.
So United Airlines, right? United Airlines Holdings, it hasn't really done much since the big crash. It was up at $100, now down around 42. And you might say, well, airlines, we need to get into those because they're so low. We looked at Norwegian, for example, as well, that I did as a shorter term opportunity.
And finally made profit.
But would I do this longer term, or would I choose something more stable? So let's have a look at this actually. The reason we would not like to invest, I can say my point of view, Marcus might have something different here, but if we look at the fundamentals here at Finvis, we can see that the income is, it's minus a lot, right? They're not doing well now. Obviously, it's a lockdown.
That's a minus 4 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a, that's a lot. And you see that
It's not surprising, really, if nobody's getting on airplanes. But the major thing is this, even though you might say, well, the US doesn't have any lockdowns, so maybe United is flying within. But if you think about it, it's probably going to be a lot less. And if Europe is in lockdown, which it is at the moment, they're not coming to this continent. So these guys are suffering. Why would you get into these companies just in the hope that something might happen in the future when there's so many other companies? Is it cost benefit?
Yeah.
Yeah, of where else could you be putting your money?
Yeah, I think so. Like, would I rather invest into Netflix, or that everyone is using now during lockdown, or would I put them into airlines, Zoom,
etc.
or would I do it into United Airlines that no one is using? Well, people are, but in a less.
So sales down 78%, earnings per share minus 258. The margin, the difference between what it costs to make the service or product and the price you sell it at, the profit margin is down massive. The
debt is really high, and then you can see here, this is quite interesting. The insider transactions, the people on the inside have sold over 58% in the last 6 months, which is also...
The people in the know, the insider, so that would be what, the CEO, CFO, CIO, COO, the whatever, the chief flying officer probably. They're all selling. Well, I tell you what, if they're selling, there's no reason for us to buy right now. So personally, I have always disliked airlines, but now I really dislike them, and I'm definitely not going to be buying them.
So make sure you go to the logical corner, like Marcus usually says. Go to the logical corner and say, is this a good company to invest in? Not because the price is low, but because it's a good company to invest in, right? I'd rather invest into something that's actually have an upward trend.
Absolutely. Let's talk about our current favorite subject, which is cryptocurrencies. And please listen up to this because it is so important. Dennis, if we can have a look at Bitcoin, we need to look at Bitcoin to start with. Went up massively, as we said earlier, went up to 41,000, then had a huge percentage increase, almost 30%. And I don't know whether you're getting in or not. I have decided to, but I also did take a little bit of profit as well at a certain point. Look, I believe we're in a bull market, and you will see, I'm just looking at history in the past, in 2017 when we had this massive bull market. Dennis is going to back me up here, for once, he's going to back me up, that we had massive pullbacks, and it carried on going, massive pullbacks. What, over 30% each time?
Yeah, over 30, 40%, even at some occasions 50%. So we could see very severe market drawdowns, but it doesn't mean we are crashing down to zero, right? It just means that could be good buying opportunities. The mistake a lot of people do is that they just put everything in and then they hope for the best. And they don't have any rules when to sell and when to buy. So I think it's important that what we do, for example, we buy in increments as it goes down, and when it goes up, we sell in increments as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's Bitcoin going up. So obviously, look, if it closes above this high here, then again we're off to the races because there is no ceiling, and then the next ceiling will be at around 49,500. Well, it's 50,000 because it's a nice round number, but you want to get out before that, right? If you're taking profits. Okay, let's have a look at Ethereum.
Yeah, and by the way, before we do that, if we get a severe pullback on the other hand, then look for the same numbers, right? 30,000, even 20,000 could be these nice round numbers where there could be a lot of sell orders. But it did go very parabolic after 20,000. So I would say it could happen. That would be a 50% pullback, which is quite a lot. So I think we're going to be in some interesting months ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's have a look at Ethereum. So this one here, obviously this is where all the applications, or the DApps, the decentralized applications, are built on. So this is the one that has not, but almost reached its all-time high, almost, but didn't back in 2017, of $1,400. Whereas Bitcoin went way above its 20,000. So that's gone into bull territory. Whereas this one yet still hasn't. But I tell you what, once it does close above 1,400, we're off to the races again. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. The pullback here was extreme, which allowed people a great opportunity to get in. This would have been a huge red candle. And, you know, at the end of the market, right? At the end of but just before the market closed, what tends to happen is that, you know, the bulls will come in and drive it back up, and that's exactly what has happened here now.
Because if you think about it, there's some cryptos that have gone to their all-time highs, but Ethereum that are actually gaining a lot more momentum and usage than well, no, I wouldn't say Bitcoin maybe, but maybe in a way, because it's getting so many from decentralized finance, it's just getting so much more used. And if Bitcoin, after breaking its all-time high, went up to 40,000, that's a double. Ethereum then, if it breaks its all-time high at 1,400, maybe double that as well, right? So I think the upside potential of Ethereum is a lot bigger. But remember this as well, we're looking for the next Ethereum and next Bitcoin. Because one thing I realized is I've sent Ethereum over from wallet to wallet, and you pay like fine fees now because there's so much interaction, so much happening on the network. It doesn't really have the capacity for all this, which means that the fees was up to almost $20, $30, $40 per transaction at some point, which is really just as expensive as the banks. So we do need competitors, we do need more helping the Ethereum network. So that's the reason we're looking for the next Ethereum and the next Bitcoin as well.
Like we've always mentioned Cardano, for example, as being maybe the next Ethereum. Okay, so if there's any pullbacks on that, we're looking to get into those kind of altcoins. Okay, so now what we want to look at is something a little bit different here. So for example, I want to show you this. This is an example of some really misleading headlines, because it says there is a 99% chance of losing everything in crypto. Okay, so if you now look at the thing, I'll explain that. So when you read that, you just go, oh my goodness, what's the point of going in, because I'm going to lose all my money. But then when you actually read it, it actually says, if you are taking on debt, i.e. leverage, that you can't afford to pay back to invest in cryptos, you're a fool, and there is a 99% chance that you will lose everything, because personal disaster stories are built on leverage, i.e. using other people's money that you did not have by yourself. Of course, yes, I agree with that, but I don't agree with that. One has nothing to do with the other one, but that's how these people write their headlines. It's totally and utterly misleading.
Yeah, what's so interesting with this as well, if you go back and look at the Bitcoin chart, you can actually see the highs, and around the highest points there's just a massive amount of good news flowing in.
Let's have a look at some.
To billion,
yeah. We've got some good news here, right? The next one here.
We do.
World's top 10 crypto companies hold. So this is the point that, a lot of companies now are actually, instead of putting their money in the bank at 0.1%, are actually buying cryptocurrencies. A very well-known MicroStrategy that raised, it put in $425 million. But then what it did, and this was amazing, it actually said, we believe in it so much that they went to its customers or the market and actually raised a further 600 million, as in, and they're going to pay them whatever, 6% a year as a result. So they raised it from the markets and put it into cryptocurrency. They now have over $1 billion in that, which is absolutely amazing.
And now other companies looking to diversify as well, because they realize, well, if US is going to keep printing money, why do we have dollars in the bank only? So I think Elon Musk in Tesla also talked about buying into Bitcoin as well and having some of those on his balance sheet. And I think it's just going to get started. It is an asset class now, and maybe soon, hopefully. I know a very famous podcaster. Do you say podcaster? Anthony Pompliano, also speaking to pension funds, and they maybe should allocate 2, 3, 4% into cryptos to hedge themselves and not be fully invested into the stock market. So we'll see. That's the trend, and the question is, are you jumping on the trend? But like this.
And if you have a good pullback, that's an opportunity for you to do that.
Yeah, and don't make the mistake, right? Oh, it's too high now. I'm going to buy back below 20,000. You need to readjust that, because when is it too high? Was it at $100, 1,000, 20,000, 40,000, 100,000, a million? When is it too high? You start getting in, but use a strategy.
Yes, use a strategy. Very important.
Very good. So next up, we want to look at something else. We looked at Ethereum, but then also XRP is quite interesting.
Now they have a big problem at the moment, because the SEC has actually said that when they raised their billions worth, they should have gone to institutions, and they didn't. They went to the general public. And the SEC says you are a security, and as a security, not a utility coin, a security coin, you should not have gone to the general public. And so, and several exchanges, including Coinbase, are now going to stop the trading of XRP. I think you can still hold it on there, but trading, and that is a problem for them.
Yeah, so the biggest one, you can trade it in Binance, because it's not European nor US. They have a US-based office, which they have closed down the trading of XRP as well. But for the long term, I think they're gonna solve this issue. It's down 63% from the high, and it's debatable if we're using that as the high. But from that highest point where it topped out at 80 cents, it's down quite a bit. So do we think they're gonna solve it? I think they will. I think because they're working with all the biggest banks in US, among others, and over 200 banks. So I think that they will keep, and I know Ripple is not the same as XRP in one sense, but I think they will solve the problem, and I think it could be a really good buying opportunity for a little longer term. So this is what we're looking at.
I'm not sure. I have not sold my XRP, but I'm not buying any more unless it goes below my lowest price that I bought according to the strategy. I am not loading up on XRP at the moment.
But it's the same as we discussed with stocks, right? We're not buying it because it's low. Is there other opportunities that might be better, like the airlines versus tech companies are doing really well? A little bit the same question here. So do you think there's better opportunities such as Ethereum, they're doing amazingly well? We looked at Uniswap in the market kind of recap, right? So there might be companies that are doing better. So next up is XLM, one of your favorite companies.
Well, it was in 2017. Every time it went up 1,000%, I took 20% out, and it was awesome. I was really milking that cow.
Yeah, moo. Is that it?
Gets worse. Okay, but then they it went all the way back down, and yes, I had taken out a lot of money, which was great. But they then said, okay, we've got a joint venture with IBM, so I thought it would go up, but it didn't. It's not done anything, and now they have a huge announcement.
Yeah, exactly. They are. Yeah, it is right. The Ukrainian government have partnered up with Stellar from kind of some different projects basically.
Well, this one, the CBDC project, is basically their digital currency. That's basically what it is, right? So governments around the world are coming up with their own digital currency, and so they've decided to use the Stellar blockchain network.
Yeah. And the Stellar blockchain, what IBM and Stellar tried to do was to create a global payment system. I don't know where they are with that really, but what XLM is good at is just to be a very good platform to launch different currencies and global payment systems, which is why Ukrainian government are maybe working with them. So it's very fast, a lot faster than both Bitcoin and Ethereum when it comes to doing the transactions. Can handle a lot more pressure.
All right.
So that's one to look at as well. So so that's it for the crypto update this week. But what do you think the future will hold in 2021?
I think this year, we're in a bull market, and yes, we have. I'm just looking at past. That's the only thing I can do. And in the past, we've had huge pullbacks before new highs. So I'm very bullish, and I want to ride it all the way up.
And be patient. I would say be patient, right? I think it's now at 800 billion. It actually crossed the 1 trillion in the total market cap. But be patient, right? That's the one's going to win the game. That's what Marcus is doing so well, right? He in 2016 and 17 he was up quite a bit, and then rode the whole bear market and did what no one else is doing. He was buying all the way down, and we had discussions at some point like, is it worth it? Why are we doing this? But now, of course, he's very happy because of patience. We also have people, you have a friend that bought around the highs of 2017.
Yeah, he bought at 18,000 of Bitcoin, right? So at 18,000 he bought, and it went down, and he sold at 12,000. I'm like, pardon? Why did you sell? He goes, well, because it was going to go lower, which it did, but he didn't carry on buying to get his average price down and then take advantage of the bull market. That's just not how people think, and he lost a lot of money. Instead of doing what I did, was just to keep buying it. I had a strategy. I have mentors. I pay them a lot of money. I have the people that we teach. So I have to do what we're teaching, right? So all of these things, I guess, which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. So be patient, keep coming back and watching these, because that's going to maybe give you that drive. Just keep going. Put a little bit in every month or something like that, just to keep going. Because in 5, 6, 7 years, you would probably be very happy you did. I think we looked at it. I think Bitcoin has averaged every year for the last 11, 12 years, like 200% a year. If you just look at it, every single year, 200%, that's a pretty good return.
I hope you enjoyed this week's update. Please do comment below. Are you looking to get into Alibaba, or are we just looking for Jack Ma? Also, are you going to be going into some cryptocurrencies? In which case, which ones are you looking to get into with that massive pullback? Please comment below. Or are you just going to wait to see what happens? Is it going to carry on going further down or not? And what do you think is going to happen in 2021 with Biden coming in? What is going to happen to these US stocks? Is gold something to get into or not? Please do comment below. Also, if you did like today's market update, do hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to make sure that you keep getting the updates on this, what to invest in, and also obviously Dennis is here as well. Okay, see you next time.